So I'm going to announce the last of our lightning talks. It's by Danielle Montour, Bridging the Gap, Conversational AI for Generating SVG Code and Enhancing Tactile Literacy for the Blind and Low Vision Community.
You're welcome to get started. We haven't gotten the slide yet, but that will come soon. Yes.
Thank you. I am very much down with ocular centrism, so I do not need slides. But thank you all for being here and thank you for this conference. Most of you have been seeing images all day on our presentations and with varying levels of description, but you've been seeing them all day. You've been seeing them on the labels of the granola bars you've been eating, most of you, all over the room. And that is a real-time issue for some of us, me, who have not been seeing any of those images today. I haven't been able to touch them. I haven't been able to experience the ones on the granola bars, on the presentations, anywhere in here. And if a term that a dear friend of mine named Chansey started using is image poverty. Image poverty is the enormous disparity that blind folks have of any visual content. There are very, very few tactile images accessible to folks when they start their schooling, and that just kind of persists into growing up. One of the more recent ways that we've been working with tactile images and starting to make those a little bit more ubiquitous is through coding them, because we've been able to draw them for a while, and that helps. Often they're drawn for us, and there are some of us who are learning how to draw them. But one of the things that we've noticed is that we need some spatial memory skills to be able to draw those well. And one of the things, as I was mentioning, code is now being used, and it's Scalable Vector Graphics code, SVG. One of the cool things about SVG is that it is kind of infinitely scalable. So it can be up on billboards and be huge, or it can be a little tiny logo on a web page, and it won't kind of get all blurry and pixelated and weird. So we've been able to start learning. Honestly, we've only been working on this for about the past year now, how to hand code SVG as blind folks. And what we've been kind of working on is the syntax for coding, and some of us who had never really done code before had a pretty steep learning curve. But then we started seeing in about February or March, generative conversational AI. And that changed the game for how we could produce SVG content on our own as blind folks. So instead of taking a text editor and having to write out, line by line of code or paste some little template shapes in, I was able to, and we've been able to kind of open up ChatGPT, for example, and say, create an image of a lightning bolt using an 800 by 1000 pixel canvas, making it the size of an 8 by 10 piece of paper. And we've been able to kind of talk about what we want for the color of the lightning bolt, what we want for the fill of the lightning bolt, which is the color inside of the outline of the shape. We've been able to tell it, to do geometric shape-based representations of items. And what's really cool about this is that for a lot of blind folks, myself included, drawing, there was a bit of a barrier of entry there of not really knowing where to start. And this was really cool because when I first told it to draw me an oak tree, ChatGPT gave me a lovely SVG code of a rectangle with sticks pointing out of it. And I hated it. I was like, this is awful. This is not what I wanted. But that's really cool because I didn't know where to start without it giving me that god awful rectangle with little stick arms pointing out of the top. And so I was able to start learning what I didn't want. And that's really helpful in starting to go toward what you do want in these sorts of picture making things. Okay, thanks. Wow, that went much longer than I thought. Sorry, y'all. No.
Great.
But all of that to say, just kind of in a wrapping up that, in starting to use this as it's very new, as we're all learning, large language models are only as good as their training. And so we still have quite a ways to go in kind of working with tactile acuity versus visual acuity and using labels on Braille displays and things like that. But there is a new, much easier, much lower cost way to start drafting images for blind folks. And we can do it on our own. So I just wanted to kind of let everyone know that that was in the works and that we're not having such a high level of skill that's needed to start making a picture, since everyone else can kind of pick up a pencil and look at things. This is a new kind of innovative pencil tool. Thanks.
Thank you very much. That was great. Do we have a question in the audience? I see a few. Okay, Lucas, we'll just have time for Lucas.
First of all, Danielle, thank you for your excellent talk. And it's really powerful to see work that focus on helping blind people to develop our own material. And this is really, you know, interesting and powerful to see that the works that you guys are doing, and I'm thankful for that. My question goes towards the collaborative work. Do you think on that type of research that you are doing, that collaboration between blind people and sighted people is one of the lines of thoughts? Because of course, like when we develop tactile graphs for us, we can see that, but not necessarily our visual colleagues can see that much, and the opposite is true.
So I think there's absolutely room for collaboration. I will dare to say, slightly spicily, that I am generally much more concerned with accessibility for sighted people's access needs when I create things that I can use than the majority of sighted people are concerned about accessibility of things that I can use when they make stuff for themselves. So I would say that there's obviously room for that. And we want to serve sighted folks' access needs just as much as blind folks, in that colors should be easy to understand and line quality and all of that good stuff. So absolutely, yes.
So thank you again. So I want to thank all four speakers.